Hello everyone, it's me, Coffee Stitcher. It is Saturday evening, which I know is a little bit early, but we've got a fairly busy day planned tomorrow, so I wanted to go ahead and do this now. So that way I didn't have to worry about trying to get it done tomorrow. How is everybody? It's good to hear. All right, so what do we have this week? Well, we do have one small tiny bit of haul. I believe next week we will probably have my market haul. Um, I've got whip updates. No finishes this week, which feels a little bit of like a surprise, but no finishes. And then I've got next week's plans that I will talk to you all about. So, without further ado, let's dive right in. We do have some Q&A, of course. The first one comes from Deborah Dixon, and she asks, do you have a favorite pattern featuring ghosts, or is your favorite whatever ghost you're stitching on? And that is the answer. I haven't really had one where I've just said, you know what, this is the most perfect ghost, there will never be a more perfect ghost. But I love me some ghosts. And some chickens. And if there was a ghost chicken pattern that was somehow also Oz themed, I think my head would just explode. So throwing that out there to the universe, Wizard of Oz ghost chicken pattern. Go. Because I don't have the talent to try and come up with that on my own. But I'm honest with myself. Alright, the next question comes from Pamela Jones. She says, I've been wanting to ask you, I know you share your pattern pictures from your iPad. Do you work your patterns from your iPad also? The answer is yes, actually. I do, but I don't work all of them. The way I sort of handle it, as it were, if it's what I classify as a simple pattern, not necessarily simple as in like one or two colors, just simple as in not overly complex, like a frosted pumpkin design is not overly complex. A traditional style sampler is not overly complex. I will work those from a PDF. Something like the fairy tale princess dresses, those get printed out. Something where there's a lot of close together symbols, that I'll do. If it looks like it's got tricky counting, that's what I'll do. But otherwise, if it's a PDF pattern, it usually stays PDF. If it's a paper pattern, it stays paper pattern. It's only if it's a PDF that I really feel like I'm going to need to be able to mark off what I'm doing that I do it on paper. Lauren O'Connell asks, when is your favorite time of day to stitch? And do I have a set place, or can I stitch wherever? Generally, I stitch on the couch. I've got my Lowry stand there. I love using my Lowry stand. So that's generally where I stitch. I do stitch in the chair I'm in now. That's where I am when I do virtual stitchers. I can kind of stitch just about anywhere because as long as I've got the space to sort of set things so that I can get to them, I can kind of stitch anywhere. I don't really have a favorite time of day to stitch. I'll pretty much stitch whatever time of day I can. I'm generally asleep at like 3 a.m., so I don't... Generally by about midnight I start wearing down, unless I'm just really pushing for something. Stacy Katz says, I think you said at one point you are working virtually now from a home office. Do you find this impacts your stitching routine? Do you still stitch at lunch? Oh boy, does it. Okay, so first off, I am working from home until we get a return from office. Once we have the return from office, then I'll be split some days home, some days in the office. I only get a half hour for lunch, which really does not leave enough time to stitch. And on my 15-minute breaks, I tend to... That's not really enough time either. So, especially working from home, I use the 15-minute breaks to do things like empty the dishwasher, start a load of laundry, clean the toilet, that sort of thing. which has been marvelously effective. What I find I do is right now I get about an hour to an hour and 15 minutes, depending on how lazy I am, to stitch before work. However, once I'm out of training and I'm on my actual schedule, I'm probably only going to, on my days that I work from home, I'm only probably gonna have about a half an hour before work, but I'll get off early enough that I'll probably still have what I call a work project that I'll work on after work. And when I get home, I'll still have a fairly, if I'm in the office that day, I should have enough time when I get home to at least throw 100 stitches on something. So I think I'll still actually be about like I've been doing, but we'll sort of see. But yeah, so it definitely has impacted my stitching routine. But I can't really, usually, especially generally by the time I get lunch prepared and eaten and I go to the bathroom, I've only got about like 2-3 minutes left before I've got to get back on. So, and the job is partially call centery. So I didn't get, we're about to get there, it's a good segue. I didn't get as much stitching done in the back half of the week because we were on the phones really and truly this week. And while I did a lot of phone answering at my last job, I've had like 6 weeks where I haven't done that. So it's getting back into the groove of that. So I've been a little more tired because I've gotten a little rusty on how to divide that energy successfully. So, with that being said, what did I work on this week? Well, of course, I did work on my work project, which is Anne Frank by Gera. I'm not going to pull out the pattern to show you because it's fairly self-explanatory now, really, what's going on here. So here is, I did not finish the roof. I think I will probably finish it this week. There's the red and then just a little bit of navy to make the tops of the roof. And then it's her name, flowers and birds up the side, and the quote. My plan this week is to finish the roof and to get as much of the quote done as possible before I start in on the side pieces. But as you can see, this is sort of a plaid effect, so this was much more complicated counting. So I didn't get quite, I think that's what really kind of slowed me down there, because I got I got almost 600 stitches in, which it doesn't look like, I mean, the bottom was like 100, but did finish the bottom. I know that doesn't look like it's about 500 stitches, or a little over 500 stitches, but it surprisingly is. So, well, and I also have this part of the roof to do too. So, but yeah, trucking along really good on this one. I still think she'll be a March finish. If not a March finish, then an early April finish. Okay. Then Sunday and Monday, I worked on the Satsuma Street Alice. This is on Elphaba from Under the Sea Fabrics. And I finished the Mad Hatter and the March Hare and the Dormouse. I did use fuzzy stuff for the hair on the Mad Hatter. I did some Krynic on the tops of the lanterns and for the string. But there it is. So next month, assuming I don't get a just sudden urge to completely finish, so that just leaves the the Queen of Hearts left. So this one should definitely be an April finish, unless, like I said, I just get the urge and do it. Because really and truly, it's I could finish it probably in a regular weekend very easily. All right. Let's see. So then I worked on Count Your Blessings, which is here. This is by Ides Folk Art. And I got the top half done. So I've now got a full page finish on this, which is very exciting. So I am thinking, I cut the leaves out of the border because I thought it was looking a little too crowded, but I do think there's a couple of leaves that are down here, and I think I may need to do it on the corners because the corners are looking a little sparse. We'll see. That's something that'll be easily added at the very end if I want, if I decide that it really needs it once I've finished that. So the plan on this one is probably next month I'll finish up the grass and this part here because it's kind of mirrored. And then one half, so that'll be April, May, June finish. So I think this one will be a June finish. The next part of the Little Red Riding Hood Parade came out. I did not work on it because it did not... I like it. It's very cute, but I just was not in the mood to stitch a whole bunch of brown this week. There's a lot of brown. I pulled out Summer Patchwork, and it turns out I'm short a couple of DMCs, so they're on order from Fire Poppies, but I did basically finish up the borders of this one. So there's a zigzaggy border here and a little bit here, but those are the two colors that I don't have. So I'm waiting on, so I'll be getting those from Fire Poppies. So the way I'm sort of looking at this one is I think this is a big one, so this is probably going to be one, probably these two together will be April, and then probably these two together for May, and these two together, and have another June finish. But again, we'll see if I'm working pretty good and they stitch pretty quickly, I may kind of go on from there. So we're going to play it a little bit by ear. All right, and then I worked on Secret Garden from Tiny Modernist. I didn't get very far on it. The trees were surprisingly dense. I need to add my count there. Like, surprisingly, what I've done here is 300 stitches. So I wasn't really totally feeling it last night. I also kind of have a feeling once the Oz pattern shows up that Secret Garden is going to get put away and I'm going to start on Oz. But I wasn't really feeling brown yesterday either. So that's okay though, because I do love the piece. So I haven't reached my goal yet on it. So it could still come back out to play. I mean, we're not even halfway through the month yet. So, and based on where I'm at month-wise, I've got the goal to hit on Haunted House, Inspiration, South Seas Mermaid, and Stitching Witches. So I'm ahead of the game so far. So I think my plan is probably next weekend I'll work on Little Red Riding Hood, and then circle back to it. Then we'll probably bring Secret Garden in at another point, because I really just wanted to get the trees done, and I've got a good chunk of the trees done. So I think probably another good sitting. I just was not in a brown mood which I'm sure people can understand. Okay, so what is coming up this week? Well, I am glad you asked. So monthly wise, I've still got South Seas and Magical Swamp to work on. This week, the plan is, so I'm actually, tonight, if I feel like stitching, I may actually read some tonight. I'm going to work on Haunted House, because my goal is to finish that floor, and I'm really getting close. I'm close, so this probably can be accomplished this weekend. So this week, it's 100 stitches on a minimum for these specific tasks. So I'm going to work on stitching witches for 2 of them. It's going to be for something that is cursed or is Halloween, and my most valuable whip. And the reason I put it as being my most valuable is because it has the kit, and I know those Victoria Sampler kits can get pricey. But here's where I'm at on it. My plan is to finish that top part. And here's the pattern for those that don't remember. So I've just basically I've got the pumpkins, I've got the witch, and I've got the house. And then that'll be done. And then I haven't decided if I'm going to, I think my plan for the next time is going to be to do bands 2, 3, 4, and 5. But we shall see. And then a place where you can have a picnic was the next one. So we go from cursed objects to Halloween to picnics, all in 1 week. So the plan is to do a page finish on inspiration. And I decided it was sort of picnicky because I think there are actually people having a picnic, but in that little center area. So this is the one by Rosewood Manor. Yeah. So that's where I'm at. So I've got all the back stitch on it done, so my first plan up is going to be to work on stitching witches, and then I will work on inspiration, and then we will see where we are from there. All right. Thus concludes this week's episode. I did have the one piece of haul that I forgot to show you. I'm way kinds of out of order. So, got my fabric of the month for February from Fortnite. I'm in the Meet the Browns club this year, and I got a piece called Sugar and Spice. It's 28 count Lugana. There it is. Which this is actually fairly true to life. It's a little more brown, but my lighting in here is kind of great because it's nighttime. I'm sorry, y'all. It's a little darker. But there we go. So, anyhow, that's it for me this week. I hope everyone has a great week. And I will see you all next week, hopefully with Market Haul. And maybe with some fun and fabulous whip updates. So, have a great day, y'all. I will see y'all next week.